like I said, the very most important thing is to be different. So what happens with most designers and most human beings is they look in their own industry and they see what other people are doing and they think, oh, that's a good idea. They must know more than I do. That must be working. I'm going to do what they do. They say, oh, well, Trina Turk sends it out this way. That must work great. Well, maybe it does work for Trina Turk because she's Trina Turk. I don't know. But what I say is to look around at other industries and look around at the way other people do things to see what's working in the world, okay? And also what starts to feel comfortable for you. But it's not as important what's comfortable for you as what's going to get you some results. So if everybody looks, what happens is every designer looks at what every other designer is doing. And then every single email starts to look exactly the same. And designers get pitched all day long with, great opportunity, come see fall 2010. You know, the same stuff every single time. And so as when I was a retailer, and with the clients that I work with that are retailers now, we're bored out of our minds with these emails. I mean, maybe there's something that could be funny, something that could crack me up, something that would find me the least bit useful, some tips or some tools or some information that I could use. You know, lure them in with one bait to get them the other bait. You know, I have found with designers, if I pitch everything that I want to sell you or everything I ever want to do as how to pitch your line to retailers, everyone will show up. And I go, okay, so before you pitch your line to the retailers, you have to have a line sheet, and here's how you do it. You know, if I say, here, come learn about a line sheet, nobody will show up, right? So what is it that the retailers are really, what could possibly be of interest to them, okay? And here's a couple examples of just looking outside your industry, all right? There was a bridal store that I heard about, and they have really slow times and busy times, and they were really slow on Monday and Tuesday afternoons. So what he did, he was driving through Sonic to get his big old Slurpee thing. You ever go to Sonic? I don't even know what market they're in. They're not here. But so certain hours of the day, I don't know where, are they here? Well, I'm going to go down and get it if it's the time, right? You can get a Sonic for how much? It's like a nickel or a penny, or it's like super cheap during the off hours. And everybody who's a Sonic fan, they know about it and they like love it, and like it brings people into the downtime. So what he started doing was he had these certain kind of like little coupon things for brides, and they were popular, they would work. And he would double it or triple it during his downtimes. And then that became just as busy as the other times. So yeah, he gave a little bit more money off, but from a standpoint of the whole, you know, the picture of the business, it was so much easier to manage. And he, you know, smart guy anyway, he's making money. But so that was one way to use an idea from another industry for yourself. You know, Sonic has nothing to do with a bridal store, right? But same like anybody like to drive through, get McDonald's every once in a while? Every once in a while, hardly ever, never. I've heard of people doing that. And the banking industry looked at the food, or vice versa. I can't remember which one came first, but whatever. That's the story. That one of them was like, oh my God, if you can drive through and get your banking done, why can't you drive through and pick up some fries? Yeah, I think it was banking first, right? So the banking industry was letting you drive through, do your banking. The food people were watching, picked up on it. It's a great thing. So just because no one else is doing it, it doesn't necessarily mean that they tried it and it didn't work or that it's a bad idea. It just means that people are afraid to step out of their comfort zone. Every designer does like this. If I want to be taken seriously, I better do it like this. But in a way, all of that myopic thinking is making the buyer's eyes glaze over. And I guarantee you their eyes are glazing over, okay? If one more person sends special opportunity in an email, if it's a special opportunity, it's coming in an invitation in the mail, right? If it's really a special invitation, it's not in my freaking inbox. It's in my mailbox with a little gold lettering. Okay, so yeah, if it's a special invitation, it's not in an email. Really, you know, you get something you invited to the White House. You think that's going to be an email? I don't think so. Oprah's having a big party. Is that going to be an email? I don't think so. She's sending it in the mail. So that's another thing that people overlook a lot, I think, is just use of the snail mail, too, versus email. But so here's how I got an appointment with Neiman Marcus the very first time I sent them anything, okay? Whatever. I'm so young, naive, one might say ignorant, I don't know. But I just didn't really know any better. And I didn't have any money to make a fancy mailer or a lookbook or anything. So what I did was I took the fabric that I was using for spring and I photocopied it, literally. Did a color copy of it and turned that into a postcard. And it was a print of like apples or something. It was fresh at the time, you know. And so it was just the apples on this side. On the other side, it said, you know, Jane Hamill collection, the basic stuff, where to find me, information. Literally, I got a call the day, you know, 4 days after they went out from the buyer at Neiman's in Dallas, the buyer herself. And I was like, no shit, really? So she calls me, she's like, hi, I got your postcard. I was like, hey, yeah, who's this? I thought it was a joke. And she goes, I'd like to meet with you and see your line. And I said, great, what's a good time? And because I was going to be in New York to show the line. And so she told me, good. I was like, whatever you like. I had a space I could use from my friend who had a showroom there. And that was that. And she actually showed up and saw the line, and, you know, it was great. But it was because what I did was just so completely different than what everyone else was doing. And it was also partly because I couldn't do what they were doing. I couldn't afford that. I didn't have time or energy. I mean, it took me like half an hour to make that postcard. But I have good taste. I have good style. You know, it worked out okay. So what can you do that's different? What can you do to shake things up? When you get something in the mail, do you ever get anything fun in the mail anymore? Bills, right? Okay, so if you're a buyer at a store, what do they get in the mail? Think about it. You probably all worked at stores. They get line sheets. They get brochures, like a threefold. And it all says, buy my product, buy my product, buy my product, right? So if you were a buyer sitting there getting that all day, what would you want to get in the mail?